just took a peek. It says 11:11 on mine, but again, that's including the introduction. We're going to video 10 based on removing the introduction, of course. I'm sure you caught on to that without me even having to say it. Okay, so we heard the three things that the 1688 did: create parliamentary privilege, no longer a person was subject, and the common law right of all land escheating to the monarchy as absolute ruler was no longer, was gone, and all land moved back into the people in order to remain and now to affect law as a foundational principle to which all law thereafter is subsequent to. So everything's perfect, inasmuch as that nothing's fully now settled from that new settlement. So now you've got a settlement, now you've got to create the rules that now adhere to that settlement. So that's not done yet, but the settlement's done of where our interest is, and everything's divided. We know that dominion is absolute and held in the people, as in each individual. As soon as you, this is very important, ears up on this, the second you make an agreement, you create a group, you just created a fiction, therefore you've just given up your dominion right. Get that. It makes sense. The agreement overreaches your dominion by the very interest, like it did in equity. The equity started overreaching the common law because we looked to the agreement that the parties had. So your dominion is immediately overreached the minute you effect an agreement. If, we'll carry on with that, if you're within holding a land interest in common law, because the only way you can do that is through an agreement of using a legal personage. Okay, it's the only way. I don't care how high you get in the title. Let's see, there's a legal personage, monarchy, the Pope. It doesn't matter. You are a legal personage no matter what. It's what one you're using in order to affect that subject matter that you want. Land or estates or interests or properties or easements or whatever. That is then subject to your legal personage to effect a remedy, which makes sense. I'm not able to give the same remedy to a 3-year-old that I can give to one in grade 12. And just, you can use the car keys. No, you can, you have a right to that sucker. Now, one in grade 12 can have the sucker, but the one in the grade 3 or whatever cannot have the car keys to drive. See, everyone is subject to what their ability is to ascertain what the law is and what equity is and what they're using as a legal personage to effect a remedy. And that creates a jurisdiction to which then the court administrates over. It's simple, it's not hard, but that's predominantly what it is. Okay? Let's read here. Now we're going to monarchy. Title, solely responsible, it's a corporation sole, totally responsible to hold the settled common law concerning each individual's rights to use a particular status under the capacity of a tenant for life. And that is the foundation of all agreements, whether we go all the way back to the beginnings of AD 1066 and the agreements with the barons. That was a tenancy. No matter what, you could not have a higher title than what the king held. It was impossible. Everything is cheated back into one singular entity. That was a tenancy, and it was a tenant for life, for lack of a better term. It was for the life of that tenant. It wasn't a perpetuity instrument, even though the baron is a perpetuity instrument, but it was then more sought that it was the individual that died that created the rights of inheritance. That's very important to ascertain now, because equity, everything goes, it goes and funnels through the tenant for life. Everything does. You are a tenant for life. And let's put it this way. I'm a male, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather. I'm not an employee anymore. I'm not a citizen anymore. Geez, I'm going to start throwing things away I'm not. I've pretty much removed a lot of belief structures. But let's just say I'm all those things, or I'm a sandwich maker, whatever. Um, at any one time, I'm affecting that thing. If I am a father, I'm acting differently than I would be if I'm dealing with a public issue or I'm dealing with in court. I'm not a father unless I go into family court. I'm not acting in that capacity. But you see, you're all those things. Well, you got dominion. You have rights to common law. You have rights in equity. All those things at once. You have the free will choice to work in equity, common law, or dominion. You have that every time because dominion, as we already alluded to, cannot be taken away from you. Okay? And so just like um, the the tenet for life is the filter, if you will, of the cornerstone to which everything branches off. You're also a tenet for life at the same moment you're dealing within the law where you have a legal right. You also have a beneficial interest. You could be a trustee, you could be a settler, depending on what you want to do. You could be a citizen, an agent. Each one of those affect different rights and obligations, duties, and actions to perform. And they're subject to your actions and your ability to speak to those actions. So, and predominantly, if you can't speak to those actions, let's say you became the Attorney General and you're unable to perform that duty, well, then they'll bring in another one. It's just the way it is. You either can be able to speak to each one of those effectively or you're not. And no one here, no one, any of the law gurus, and I've said this many times, I don't care, I said any one lawyer, it doesn't matter, will ever speak to the law because A, they'll never speak to the dominion in order to affect the common law interest, which notice is the equitable interest, because they're only stuck in equity. They're all stuck within the trust, and we'll get into that point later on as well. Okay, so keeping in mind that you're a tenant for life, and that's where your warranty is. Your warranty is the comprehension of the duties and powers that were affected subsequently established and promulgated through the Settled Land Act 1925. That right there gives the duties and powers for each individual. When you're trustees for the settlement, that's your common law interest. Whether you're a tenant for life, whether you're a statutory owner, whether you're a personal representative, whether you're, infant in as much as showing what powers are there in order to protect your interest when you're an infant. So everyone right now listening to me, you are unable to ever not be a tenant for life as long as you are affecting a right in equity. Okay? And to a lesser degree in common law. But predominantly you're unable to be not considered tenant for life, but not even used in that context, because if your actions are already performing a duty that would be sought when you look at the Settled Land Act that you're performing. You always are a tenant for life, just like the law of domicile is involuntary. Everyone must have a place of origin, a birth. Okay. First of all, origin. Where, not where you're born, but where is the origin of your father? So, if you were born in England, then your domicile of origin, and your father was, his origin is in England. Okay. Then that would be your domicile of origin. But let's say that your father and mother, they went to India to do some work over in India. Well, now your birthplace will be India, but your origin will fall back on the father. And if there's no father, then the matriarch, the mother, that would become new place of origin established. But it's involuntary, you can't. And that's a benefit to you. Just like the birth certificate and all that stuff are benefits, it's how you use it. Okay, they're not good or bad. Nothing's good or bad. It's how you're interpreting it and your lack of power of understanding what that is that you're doing. Okay, so law of domicile is involuntary. It is to know what that means in order to affect your rights within the law of domicile, to which is the third aspect of it, is choice. Choice has to be there. So law of domicile is through origin, birth, or choice. And in the lower realm, when we speak about as being a citizen, we think, well, choice of, I live in, I'm under the jurisdiction of territory in Canada, and I want to change my citizenship into the United States, let's say. Well, now that'll be my choice. My origin will always be there in the background. So is my birthplace. So there's still a system there, but my choice is in the U.S. But on the higher realm, there's also the choice to participate in English law or not participate in English law. Simplicity is divinity. Okay? We're 10 minutes in already. See? Wow, there's a lot to unpack, but I think we're doing well here. Lots of things that are sort of hopefully connecting dots with you. And let's go on to number 11. 11.